Dragons have appeared in the myths, folklore, and even historical chronicles of cultures all over the world. Here are 5 notable historical dragon stories from different regions. Number 5. St. George and the Dragon. The story of St. George slaying a dragon is one of the most famous in Western literature. But when and where did it come from? It first appeared in Europe sometime around the 11th century. The tale goes that St. George, a Roman soldier and Christian martyr, was traveling through a town that was being terrorized by a fearsome dragon. Every day, the dragon would demand a human sacrifice, and the townspeople, terrified, would comply. When the dragon claimed the next victim, St. George stepped forward to take her place. He then proceeded to slay the beast, after which the townspeople converted to Christianity. This story likely originated as a symbolic tale in which Christianity is replacing the old pagan religion. But medieval texts such as William of Worcester's Chronicle treated it as a real event, and it has since been depicted in countless paintings, church carvings, and coats of arms across Europe. There's just something undeniably compelling about the image of a valiant knight slaying a ferocious dragon, and this particular tale has endured through the centuries because of its powerful symbolism. For many people, it represents the triumph of good over evil, while others see it as a metaphor for the struggle between faith and doubt. Number 4. The Lantern Worm. This English dragon story comes from the 15th century and tells the tale of how a worm grew into a terrifying serpent and was eventually slain by a local man named John Lantern. One day, John skipped church to go fishing and caught an eel-like creature. Assuming it was a worthless fish, he discarded it into a nearby well only for it to grow overnight into a gigantic serpentine dragon. It wrapped itself around hills, blocked roads, and generally terrorized the surrounding villages. John, horrified at what he had unleashed, returned from the crusade several years later and killed the monster using armor studded with spikes to avoid being crushed. This legend likely originated from sightings of giant eels or snakes in English rivers, and it is still celebrated in Durham folklore and song to this day. 3. Chinese imperial dragons. Dragons have been present in Chinese culture for over 3,000 years, with their origins lost to antiquity. In Chinese history and mythology, dragons were seen as benevolent creatures that controlled rain, rivers, and other bodies of water. They were also associated with wealth and prosperity, and emperors often claimed to be the sons of the dragon, giving them the right to rule over China. According to legend, dragons could control the weather, predict the future, and grant wishes. They were also said to live in the mountains and seas, and their sightings were recorded as omens of imperial change. This likely began due to early Chinese people seeing alligators or large aquatic reptiles in the Yangtze River, and these legends eventually evolved into the dragons we know today. Dragons are still a symbol of power and fortune in Chinese culture, and they continue to appear in art, literature, and traditional festivals. Number 2. The Tarasque of Provence. The Tarasque was a dragon-like monster that supposedly lived in the 12th century in the southern French region of Provence. Its exact origins are unknown, but it is said to have had the body of a dragon, the head of a lion, and a shell covered in spikes. The beast terrorized the nearby town of Tarascon, attacking people and livestock and generally causing havoc. But it was eventually slain by a young woman named Saint Martha, who used holy water and hymns to tame it. Once she had it under control, the villagers came out to kill it. While some believe that the legend of the Tarasque is just a fanciful story, others think that it may have arisen from medieval travelers seeing crocodiles or other exotic reptiles. The festival of the Tarasque is still celebrated in France every year in honor of the beast. And 1. Ryujin and the Tide Jewels. This dragon story comes from Japan's ancient chronicles dating back to the 8th century. According to these texts, Ryujin was the dragon god of the sea who lived in a crystal palace beneath the waves. He controlled the tides with magical jewels and was responsible for the rise and fall of the ocean. One day, the hero Hori went to visit Ryujin to win back a tide-controlling gem that had been stolen by a dragon. With the help of the sea god's 3 daughters, Hori succeeded in retrieving the gem and restoring order to the natural world. This legend reflects the ancient Japanese reverence for the ocean and its forces, as well as their belief in the power of dragons to control the tides. Some scholars believe that it originated from a combination of typhoon and tidal lore that was eventually personified as dragons. What common threads do all of these stories share? Dragons typically act as guardians of sorts, often guarding bodies of water or treasure. Like in the case of the Chinese imperial dragons or the Japanese Ryujin, they represent the untamable forces of nature, whether it be the destructive power of the storm, the flood, or even fate itself. Like in the legend of the Lambton Worm. Finally, many dragon stories feature a hero who confronts the beast, either to slay it or to steal its treasure. In some cases, the hero is a legendary figure like St. George, while in others, it is an ordinary person who rises to the occasion, like John Lambton or Yuri. Whatever the case may be, the stories typically feature a battle between good and evil, with the hero emerging victorious in the end. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.